Now, ladies and gentlemen, may we turn your attention to the commissioner's box, which is located at the first base end of the Pirates' dugout. Today's ceremonial first pitch will be made by the former Pirate second baseman, Bill Mazeroski. 19 years ago yesterday, he hit the home run at Forbes Field, which won the 1960 World Series over the New York Yankees.
And that's appropriate. Mazeroski with a home run to win it in 60, and the Pirates need a few miracles beginning today. Jim Rooker, today's Pirate pitcher. Howard talked to Jim earlier.
Jim, what a spot they've got you in. It's the last stand, and you got to save.
Well, that's true. Seems like there are a lot of Indians around and no help in sight, but there aren't too many people maybe that can be put in this position, but I welcome the challenge, and I'm real happy about it. It's just a matter of going out and doing my job and hoping things turn out right.
You seem to be throwing better than you have in a long time if your performance in the first game is any yardstick. Is that true?
I believe so. I've gone through a lot of injuries this year and been on the disabled list a couple of times, and I think I'm probably more, or at least at this point, a lot healthier now than I was during the course of the season. So I think that with the fact that I haven't had to pitch that much this year probably has allowed me to be a little bit stronger at this time of the year as opposed to somebody that's maybe pitched a lot of games, a lot of innings, and maybe not be quite as strong.
What's your best pitch, Jim?
Well, I'm basically a controlled pitcher. I'm not going to overpower anybody and strike out a lot of hitters, so I've got to just get all of my pitches over the plate, stay around the plate, and basically really stay on top of the hitters. I can't afford to get behind on these Oriole hitters like the rest of our staff really has been doing as of late.
Jim Rooker, who worked in relief in Game 1 in Baltimore. The start in Game 5, the Pirates out on the field. Defensively today, it's Bill Robinson getting the start in left field, again because of the left-hander going for Baltimore, Flanagan. Omar Marino is in center. He hasn't stolen a base in the series. Neither have the Pirates. And Dave Parker over in right. Parker 7 for 17. At third base, Bill Madlock made a key error yesterday and also turned in a fine play at third. An off-and-on series thus far for Madlock, with Tim Foley at shortstop with 3 hits in game number 4. Talk about off-and-on series. There's a key example. Phil Garner at second base. Problems defensively, but Garner with 7 hits and 14 trips to the plate. And, of course, at first, the captain of the Bucks. Number 8 is number 1 in Pittsburgh, Willie Stargell. Back of the plate, Steve Nicosia, again in the platoon arrangement with Ott cashing against the right-handers, and Nicosia in the lineup against the lefties, and 37-year-old Jim Rooker on the mound. Rooker is 37. He has an 18-year-old son, David, who is a freshman at the University of Arizona and figures to be the Wildcats' starting third baseman. Rooker, a surprising starter. Everybody figuring that Chuck Tanner would opt for Bruce Keeson, who was the starter in game number 1. The Orioles going with basically the same lineup they went with the other night against the lefty Candelaria. The only change would be in the middle where they have flip-flopped DeCinces and Renicky. But the same cast of characters that provided the impetus initially in the 8-4 win in game number 3. And here was the man who was the big hero in game number 3 with 4 runs batted in. Had 2 more RBIs yesterday. Kiko Garcia, Ayala, and Singleton to start it off in game number 5. Garcia celebrating his 26th birthday today. It's a family affair. His dad, Alphonse, is 54. His Uncle Louis is 52 today. Here we go. Game 5. 0-1 the count. The umpires, an American League umpire at the plate today. Jim McKean, Paul Runge of the National League at first, Jerry Newdecker, American second, Bob Engel, National at third, Russ Getz, American left field line, Terry Tate, a National, down the line and right. 0-2 the count.
Well, you had to be impressed with Jim Rooker on the opening night of the series. When he came on, he worked 3 2/3 innings, allowed just 2 hits, and he threw well. He was well in command. He had a good curveball, and he had a good fastball. He can be a little sneaky fast. Jim, he's got a nice, easy motion. That fastball can get on you a little bit.
Fouled away.
I liked what Rucker said because he was admitting the differences between the two staffs in that interview he did with me. I've got to keep the ball around the plate. I can't give anything away, let them walk. It's told in the statistics of the series, maybe the most telling statistic. I continue right after Rooker makes this pitch. All right, I'll continue now. 19 birds have walked. Only 8 Bucks have walked, Don.
Well, you can't afford to be giving up all those free passes, especially in a World Series. You know, the big thing, walks are going to be part of the game, but if you can minimize your walks, and you might maybe have an average of 2 a game, that's a good game for anybody. Now, whether that's one pitcher or your whole staff, but you start getting up into the 5 and 6s and you're in trouble.
2-2 the count on Garcia. Rooker used to be a very deliberate worker. He was pitching well early this season and thought one of the reasons was he had speeded up the tempo. Hit in the air, down the right field line, and curling and going foul, back out of play. So the count stays 2-2 on Garcia.
There's a guy out there that just picked up that ball, Dave Parker. He is playing, and he is not 100%. He has got the bad knee. He went into the fence yesterday to grab a fly ball. He's got a bad shoulder, but I'll tell you, he's still going strong. He's still a threat. The Bucks, though, as I said before, they have not put it all together in this series, and even to a man, they have come out and said that. This is not our ball club. People have not seen our ball club yet.
Fouled back, 2-2.
Well, you made an effective point in your opening when you talked about the Bucks' failure with men on bases. Look, thus far in this series, the Bucks are hitting for a .329 average. The Birds for only .266. However, with men on bases in scoring position, thank you very much, the Birds are hitting .289, the Bucks only .243. Another telling statistic.
Broken bat, Looper, and Rooker makes the catch, a basket catch. Last time we saw that was 54 with Mays off Wirtz. Over the shoulder.
Now, there's a play. If Rooker doesn't make that play, I don't believe they get Garcia. But I said before, Jim started off in his professional career, as we look at it again, and good instincts right here. He was a former outfielder in the Tiger organization, and he makes the play, and he makes it look easy, but a very good heads-up play by Rooker.
Here's Benny Ayala making his second start in the series. 2 for 2 against Candelaria the other night, a single, and then a home run.
In the meantime, did you hear Earl Weaver tell me in the pregame show, call ball, that he started up. He talked about how little was left on his bench. He started up to hit yesterday. He said, Ayala might as well leave the pitcher up against a right-hander.
2-0.
Well, there's a man right there that he's got the whole baseball world confused. I'll guarantee you that.
2-1 the count on Ayala.
I have never seen more baseball people shaking their head and trying to figure out Earl Weaver than I did yesterday after the game when we went over to the ABC hospitality place.
Bouncer to short. Tim Foley. 2 down. Now, you know, one thing about the Orioles, Weaver contending that he uses everybody, and certainly he has proven that. He's proven that in the first 4 games. Every Oriole has gotten into the first 4 games of the series, and interestingly, all but one of the Pirates, only Dave Roberts, has not worked for Pittsburgh.
Well, both of these managers, why, they're firm believers. They will platoon, both of them, as we see this afternoon, and they go to their bench a lot. They take advantage of all 25 men.
Ken Singleton looks at a strike. 90 miles an hour, the last pitch from Rooker.
That's not bad for a man that's been on the disabled list twice this year.
There's a change, missing outside.
Kenny's 7 for 17, hitting .412 in the series, but he's not that happy with the series he's having because of 3 important strikeouts.
1-2 the count.
He's only knocked in 2 runs in the series, Don.
Well, Ken had an interesting statement you told me about this morning when they were talking about the managerial moves of Earl Weaver.
Fly ball to center field. Omar Moreno will handle this one. And an auspicious beginning for Pittsburgh as Rooker sets the Orioles down in order after a half. In Game 5, it's Baltimore nothing. And the Pirates coming up. Mike Flanagan, the winner in game number 1. 23-game winner during the regular season. On the mound for the Orioles today. And he chatted with Howard before the game.
Earl, second time around for Mike Flanagan. Tell us what makes him tick, your evaluation of him, what he throws.
Well, he has outstanding stuff, Howard. He's got a good fastball. He has a tremendous slider. He tries to throw low and in. He's got an excellent curveball. Voted the best breaking ball in the American League before Guidry come up with his slider. And he found a changeup in the middle of the season from Scotty McGregor. Along with this outstanding stuff, he has an intelligent mind, and as far as pitching to hitters, and a perfect temperament. Nothing seems to bother him. So you've got a pitcher that's going to be great.
Weaver's comments about Howard did chat with Flanagan too before the game. Those are the comments of Weaver. As we go to the bottom of the first inning with no score, a look at the Pirate lineup. And Omar Marino to stand in. Marino and Parker, the left-handers in the lineup, against the lefty Flanagan. First pitch, a strike. Don, you started to make the point about Singleton and Weaver in the top of the first.
Howard was commenting on that.
Kenny said, in response to all the talk about Earl and his magic, beauty. Took something off that, as you saw. Kenny said, sure, Earl makes the moves, but we're the guys who execute. We're the ones who deserve the credit. Well, that's exactly what Weaver said in the pregame show interview, Al.
1-2 the count. Yeah, but you know, Earl might be a little self-effacing, I think. He deserves a lot of... Look at the defense for the Orioles with Bunbury out of the lineup, so Renicky gets the start in center field, Ayala in left, Singleton in right. Dower getting the start today at second base. As Marino goes down swinging. One away.
Now 4 runs were chalked up as you look at this again. Don?
Here's just a good, hard breaking pitch right here. Moreno just outmatched with this pitch. Good location.
Weaver stayed with Flanagan, for which Weaver, an example of what you were talking about. Weaver and Weaver alone deserves the credit in the first game of the series. But he pointed out, and rightly so, Flanagan only gave up 2 earned runs.
A strike. Exactly. And there were so many situations in that game where you thought toward the end he would come out. It was 5-0 at one point, and of course it wound up 5-4 with the tying run stranded at third. 1-1. Well, you look at Earl during the series, Howard. He's a hero in game 1, goat in game 2 in a sense.
Yeah, when he didn't bunt Lowenstein.
Right.
And he's been the hero ever since.
You bet. 1-1 pitch. A strike in the count, 1-2. Flanagan with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. One-two pitch to Tim Foley. Checks in time. Pitch missing inside. 2-2.
That's a pitch right there that Flanagan can get right-handers out on. He's got a good, hard, biting curveball that he can bring it right down into the knees and just below the knees. He's got a good downward break to it.
2-2 pitch is hit foul outside first.
You do an interview with Earl, you've got to piece apart every word because he knows what he's saying in the context and perspective of the whole league.
Hit to center field. Renicky coming on and makes the catch. He hesitated at first.
Well, left field is his normal position and best. But recently, he's been playing in center, and he is, on balance, a good defensive outfielder. Notice when Earl was talking about Flanagan, to amplify what I was talking about, Don, he said Mike had voted the best curveball in the league until Guidry came up with that slider. So you know he's always thinking about the whole league.
Well, he's got it pretty well in perspective. He won more games than anybody in baseball, 102.
Dave Parker takes up high, ball 1. Parker with 4 hits in game number 1 off Flanagan. fouled away. It's interesting that both number 3 hitters, Parker and Singleton, coming into the game exactly the same stats. As we remind you tonight, it's the Rams against Dallas in a big one. Special Sunday edition. And then tomorrow, the regular Monday night edition. Monday Night Football. First time ever from New York as the Minnesota Vikings take on the Jets. Both games at 9 o'clock Eastern, tonight and tomorrow.
Well, as I've said, the Rams and the Cowboys, as good a matchup as you can get in the National Football Conference. The Rams beginning to put things together, always with a great defense. Hobbled somewhat tonight by the absence of offensive lineman John Williams and their 2 wide receivers. We'll be giving you today's NFL scores very soon.
1 ball, 1 strike on Parker with 2 out and the base is empty in the first inning. Popped up in foul ground. The Sensei coming over, but might have a play and just runs out of room in the second row.
I asked Dave what he was going to do to improve on the 4 hits he got off Flanagan the first time around. He said get 4 more, 2 of them 3-run homers.
He and Singleton, the same stats, each with 7 hits and 17 trips to the plate coming in. Neither has homered in the series, and each with 2 runs batted in. I think what you said about Singleton, Howard, can be applied to Parker. He's hit well, but he really hasn't been that instrumental offensively.
More particularly about Willie Stargell.
That's right, Stargell, 7 for 18.
There have been 5 key situations where Stargell has failed with men on base in this series. Willie's well aware of them.
And down goes Parker. So Flanagan strikes out 2 in the inning. Each side out in order. We go to the second. Baltimore nothing, Pittsburgh nothing. That's a magnificent sight. A helicopter shot of downtown Pittsburgh. You see the stadium on the left and the downtown area known as the Golden Triangle at the confluence of the Ohio, the Allegheny, and the Monongahela rivers.
Well, that's the city I was talking about. Everybody in the municipal government can take pride in what they've done with the inner city of this town, and the same is absolutely true of Baltimore. Great cities have made this country great, and they're not going to perish.
In the second inning with no score, Eddie Murray, Gary Renicky, and Doug DeCinces. Eddie Murray, switch hitter. 1-0 the count. Murray got off to a hot start in the series, but they have cooled him off. 4 for 14. Two and 0.
Don't let that fool you, Al. This man is a hitter, an exceptional hitter. He can kill you anytime.
In only his 3rd year, you've got to be impressed by Murray as he hits a fly ball to right field. Dave Parker is right there. 1 gone. So Jim Rooker has set down the first 4. Rooker didn't find out until after yesterday's game that he would be starting in game number 5.
You know, it really wasn't until somebody came up to him in the clubhouse and asked him. He didn't hear it from Tanner. He came up. He was being interviewed, and I was watching it on TV as we went back to. I went back to the room, and there he was. He said he looked at him, and all of a sudden his eyes got as big as saucers. He said, "No." He said, "No one told me." He said, "You're the first one that told me."
It's interesting how pitchers prepare for games. Rooker, very easygoing sort, out by the batting cage, chatting with everybody. Outwardly, anyway, seemingly no pressure. Other pitchers just like to stay back in the clubhouse, avoid conversations. Popped up. Stargell is there, and Wilbur puts it away. 2 down. Doug DeCinces coming up. DeCinces hit a home run off Bruce Kaysen in the first inning of game 1, and since that time he has gone 0 for 12.
Yes, but he has 3 ribbies, and he walked 4 times yesterday. Only a limited number of players have done that in the whole history of the World Series. The Giants, red hot, crushed San Francisco. New Orleans over Tampa Bay, a big win, and Washington winning again. Miami beat Buffalo. Big game. Look at Cincinnati's upset of the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers, and St. Louis upset the Philadelphia Eagles. Pete Rozelle wanted parity in the National Football League. He's got it.
1-1 pitch to DeCinces. At the inside corner for a strike. 1-2.
Of course, in fairness to the Steelers, they played that game without Lynn Swan. All of their linebackers are out. They more resemble a hospital team than they do the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. So Jim Rooker, the surprise starter in game number 5, has set down the first 6. And in the middle of the second inning, in game 5, Orioles nothing, Pirates nothing. Bill Robinson will lead off with the Bucks in the bottom of the second. Willie Stargell is out on deck. And before the game, Howard talked to Stargell about the atmosphere surrounding the Pirates.
Willie, honestly, what's the mood of this ball club? Is there any quit in it now?
No, Howard, we feel that we have not really played the caliber baseball that the Pittsburgh Pirates are capable of playing. We're anxious to prove, not necessarily to ourselves, because we know of our capabilities. I think, if anything, maybe the guys are in a situation where this is the first World Series, and they want to do things to show them basically what we've been doing all year.
Robinson leads off by grounding one to DeCinces, and Murray is able to scoop it out. 1 away. Willie Stargell coming up. You know, in light of what Stargell said, I'm just wondering if you don't think, Don and Howard, that maybe some of the Pirates might have underestimated Baltimore coming in.
Well, I think there's a strong possibility of that. As you look at Robinson hit the ball again to DeCinces, dug a clean throw, but then just throws it a little low, and Eddie Murray right there.
I don't agree with either of you. How can you underrate the winningest team in baseball with the best pitching staff in baseball?
I think that they thought their power, I thought they thought man for man offensively that they were better than Baltimore.
Stargell hits a fly ball to center field, and Renicky in his tracks.
I still don't agree with you. As Kenny Singleton pointed out, the Birds had more than 180 home runs.
We're talking about Pittsburgh's thoughts. I think that Pittsburgh thought that they really had a better, and why not? You should think you have a better club. If you think you don't have a better club, well, you shouldn't even be here.
That I agree with, but I just don't believe they underrated the Birds.
Well, I think
They had to fight too hard to beat off Montreal, a young team.
Oh, that's very true. But they had good pitching like Baltimore. I think they realized they did have good pitching.
Grounded to DeCinces, takes a wicked hop, but he recovers. His throw, though, won't be in time as Bill Madlock is aboard safely at first base.
I don't know what they're going to call this. Look at it again, but based on the hop, I think you look at that. Ball went up over the glove against the chest. We still haven't received the official call.
Elliot, I think it hit on the back part of that dirt, right at the
Right
edge.
there,
See,
you
it comes
see it?
up right on the seam, right there, and it comes up, and Doug plays it off the. I think they got to give him a hit.
Well, we'll wait for the scoring,
hit.
and they do give him a hit. Bad hop single from Madlock. That's Bill's 6th hit in the series, and the game's first base runner. And Flanagan does a good job keeping runners close, with Nicosia waiting at the plate. Hit to left field. Ayala going back. It's deep but playable on the warning track for Benny. So the side is retired in the second inning. 1 hit, 1 man left on to the third inning with the score, the Orioles nothing and the Pirates nothing. Rich Dower to lead off in the third inning, and misses Rich Dower. Watching.
If this series goes any longer, I'm going to sit down with the wives.
We've seen some lovely wives on both sides.
Sit down right there next to Mrs. Marino and the whistle, huh? Dower, Dempsey, Flanagan, bottom of the order against Jim Rooker, who has started by retiring the first 6 Orioles. No score in the third. 1-0.
He's wondering if he'll get to pitch again. He told me he hasn't felt so well all year, maybe in a couple of years. He really pitched the best game of the Baltimore pitchers and came out without a win.
Well, if they do go back to Baltimore and Pittsburgh does win today, he will be in there on Tuesday night against Blyleven.
2 balls, no strikes, the count on Dower. 2-1.
I tell you, I like the way Rooker is throwing.
So far, he's been throwing super.
Fastball has been very good, moving a lot. And yet he can junk you and keep you off stride.
Popped up, right side. Rooker calling for Stargell to take it. And what he does. So 7 in a row.
Johnny Lowenstein. The glasses. The philosopher. The man who got such a big hit yesterday. Just beyond him, of course, Kenny Singleton.
One thing about Lowenstein, after winning Game 1 in the playoffs and what he's done thus far, everybody around the country knows how to pronounce his name now.
That's exactly right.
Even from time to time, Weaver lapses into Lowenstein. Rick Dempsey, 3 for 12 in the series.
Sounds like the writer of a symphony.
0-1.
Rooker has really a nice, smooth, easy delivery.
One and one. Mentioned he was a very deliberate pitcher. Seems to have picked up the pace, and that seems to be the case today, Don.
He's working well. He's not slow whatsoever. Taking a little time right now, but outside of that, he worked very well.
Bouncer to third. Easy play for Bill Madlock. 2 down.
And just take a look and try and digest a little bit, if you will, this easy motion by Rooker. Now the head comes back up to pick up the target, and everything's nice and smooth and easy.
Well, here in Pittsburgh, some scattered clouds today, but no threat of rain. As Flanagan hits it in the air to Marino. And Jim Rooker has pitched 3 perfect innings. Orioles gone again, 1, 2, 3 in the third. We go to the bottom of the third, still no score. Bottom of the third inning, Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Game 5 of the 1979 World Series. Al Michaels, Howard Cosell, Don Drysdale with you, and Game 6, if there is a Game 6, to be played on Tuesday night in Baltimore. 7th game, if necessary, on Wednesday night. No score. The only hit in the game belongs to the Pirates. Bill Madlock, a base hit in the second. As Garner leads off, Rooker and Marino will follow. Garner trying to bunt his way on, but Flanagan is right there. Low throw, but Murray able to make the grab for the out. 1 down.
And even Matlock's hit was a tarnished one. The ball hitting the skin of the dirt, as Don pointed out on the replay, causing an errant bounce high against the sensei's chest. So this is a totally different kind of ball game. Usually, with 36 minutes of the game gone, we're still in the first half of the first inning.
Haven't we? Oh, the first 4 games, 3 hours 18, 3:13. Then we had a quickie on Friday night, 2:51, but a 1 hour, 7-minute rain delay. And yesterday's game was the longest 9-inning game in World Series history, 3:48. Jim Rooker fouls it back.
Obviously, this guy can hit for a pitcher.
Well, as mentioned before, he started off, he signed as an outfielder in the Tiger organization, so don't just count him out.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Again, a reminder, tonight, special Sunday edition of Monday Night Football, Los Angeles against Dallas. The Cowboys now getting ready to roll. They usually start slowly. They didn't this year, although they were upset by Cleveland on a Monday night. They're putting it all together. Their team is getting healthy, and they've acquired John Dutton.
Rooker pops it foul. That one will drift back out of play, and the count is 2-2. Omar Marino on deck. You know, you talked about the paucity of walks and all of the hits, and yet the Bucs are down 3 games to 1. Also, they've not stolen a base in this series.
Mm-hmm.
Called strike 3.
Now, wasn't that a beautiful pitch, Don?
Great pitch, great location. Rooker looking for something out over the plate, and he just came back and nipped that inside corner. Flanagan can do this so well, so can McGregor. Right there. Here's a guy that's really been neutralized in this series.
That's right. We talked about all the men Parker and Stargell have left on base, and it's been the same thing with Marino.
Did you hear a whistle?
I heard a whistle.
1-0.
I love to whistle.
1-1 the count. Yeah, we've had some characters. This is Marino with a whistle. Chet Forty is still looking for the guy with a cigar today. The classic shot yesterday. Oh. One pitch. Popped in the air, shallow left field. Garcia says he'll take it, and barely does. Good play by Kiko in foul ground.
So very quickly, we've been to 3 innings. No score in the ball game as you look at Kiko again. Kiko wondering about Ayala. And finally, look at that white still showing.
So at the end of 3 quick innings in Pittsburgh, still Orioles nothing, Pirates nothing in Game 5. Looking down into Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Beautiful ballpark that opened in the middle of the 1970 season. Second time the World Series has been played here. Do it for 21, of course, the late Roberto Clemente. The Pirates right fielder, Manny Sanguillen, mentioning it after the Bucks won Game 2. That one was for Roberto. Sanguillen's base hit in the 9th inning, the key blow. Kiko Garcia popped out in the 1st inning. Rooker made a nice play to get him, and it's fouled back. 0-1.
You know, knowing Kiko with his chronic back problem, he has a pinched nerve in the back. Once a month, he goes to the chiropractor who pops his back into place. You wonder how the kid has been able to do so many things.
Well, you know, he's had a pretty good year for Baltimore when you look all the way through it, because since the All-Star break, he's been doing a lot of playing for him. Didn't play the first 2 games and then really came on.
Bounce to short. Foley gets him. And 10 in a row. Set down by Jim Rooker.
So far, and it's oh so young, a perfect game for Jim Rooker. Still throwing easy. Now going against this Birds lineup 2nd time around. So a good time to take a searching look at it. See if they're detecting anything. Can begin to get to him.
Well, he hasn't really thrown that many pitches. Both Rooker and Flanagan threw 3 innings of play. Rooker threw 33 pitches. He's thrown through, I guess, right now to Garcia to make that 35. Flanagan's gone through 28, so they're going just about head and head.
Benny Ayala grounded out in the 1st inning. 1-0. They don't get the appeal. Two and on the count.
Misses Ayala.
Three and on the count. So Rooker behind for the first time.
One thing he says he must avoid doing.
3-1. And he loses him. So the Orioles have their first base runner. And Rooker will be working out of the stretch for the first time as Ken Singleton comes up. Flied out in the 1st inning.
It'll be interesting right now to watch how Jim pitches out of the stretch position. Of course, he does it many times in his life, but a lot of times when you get rolling along, and working out of the windup for so many times, as we've said before, he's retired 10 in a row. Now he walks Ayala. Sometimes it maybe will take just a pitch or two to get himself in the groove pitching out of the stretch. And we'll have to wait and see about that.
Well, we have just lost any possibility of a repeat of Don Larson in '56.
Pop foul, back out of play.
There's Kenny's wife. You've seen it twice before as Chet Forty covers his human coverage of this World Series. It's dimensional coverage, I might add.
The strike one pitch. Did he check? They appeal. He did check. 1-1.
Well, a lot of fans doing some umpiring with their hearts out here, but
Yep.
I believe Kenny checked in time. Jim McKeon said, well, I'm not real sure. He's out there. That bat is laying back there now. A lot of times when things go along like this, both of these managers, they'll just start something, make something happen.
1-1 pitch is fouled at the plate, and the count 1-2. On deck, Eddie Murray. One ball, two strikes. Now Rooker, who was in great rhythm, as you look at the schedule, if necessary, game 6 Tuesday from Baltimore, 8 o'clock. If necessary, game 7 Wednesday from Baltimore at 8 o'clock. Rooker was in good rhythm, but now working deliberately, and the 1-2 pitch is fouled back.
He's mixing up his pitches, it seems to me. Very well done. That was a good evidence. He's been throwing Kenny the slow curve, dropping down. Suddenly moves upstairs with the fastball.
He's thrown some good changeups, and he's had them in pretty good locations, too. He's just missed with a few of them. He's had a good curveball. He's jammed some right-hand hitters. And he's had an exceptional fastball so far.
2-2 the count.
Well, he's got Singleton and Murray, the two hitters against whom you dare not make a mistake. Oh, what a beauty.
On the inside corner, Singleton does not like the call.
He's wrong. That pitch took him by surprise. It's exactly what we were talking about. He's mixing up his pitches beautifully.
Well, he stayed away from him all the time, and now he comes back and nips that inside corner. There you see Nicosia setting inside, and it's right there.
Eddie Murray.
You can see now here's one of the American League umpires, Jim McKeon, who will work with the inside protector. Lee McPhail, the president of the American League, Dick Butler, the supervisor of umpires, they've given the American League umpires that option. You do not used to don't have to use, I should say, that big balloon as Murray fouls it away. And there's a lot of them going to it. Matter of fact, there's probably more in the American League right now that are using that inside protector than are not. You see also Jim has that flap hanging down that Nicosia has, started by the Dodger Steve Yeager to eliminate any foul tips from going back and catching in the throat of the Adam's apple.
That has become just about standard equipment now.
Just about.
It has. Yeager had an idea, and it was a good one.
Well, you start getting hit there a few times and you'll think of something.
Started using that, kept his health, and stopped hitting.
0-1 pitch. Popped up. Bill Garner is right there. And the Orioles are gone in the 4th inning. Rooker sailing along. No runs, no hits. They leave one at the end of 3 1/2 in game 5. Baltimore nothing, Pittsburgh nothing. Well, our helicopter just a few miles away now as you look down into Pitt Stadium, the home of the Panthers, the campus, the University of Pittsburgh, where yesterday the Panthers beat Cincinnati 35-0.
That's right, yesterday morning. The Cathedral of Learning. And proximate there, too, Old Forbes Field, no longer existing.
Tim Foley leads off in the bottom of the fourth inning. 0-1 the count. Foley's followers watched him collect 3 hits yesterday. He has 5 in the series. Bouncer foul, and the count is 0-2.
Now the outfield playing extremely shallow for Foley as Ayala will run that ball down. The center fielder Renicky, the right fielder Singleton, and Ayala will move back into a shallow position. Timmy, of course, up on that bat handle.
I tell you, we're watching Flanagan now, but how impressive Rooker has been.
The sensei on a hop. 1 out. Dave Parker coming up, struck out in the first inning. Now 7 for 18 in the series. He talked with Howard before the game.
Dave, it's the second time around for you against Flanagan. Last time you killed him. 4 hits. What more can you do?
Well, hopefully I can get 4 more today and possibly hit 2 3-run homers and put us out in front and get this game out of our belt and go to Baltimore and clinch the World Series. Yeah.
Sounds like his manager. The optimistic Chuck Tanner as Parker fouls it away. 0-1.
Well, the big thing, the Pirates right now, they're getting an excellent job so far from Jim Rooker. They've got to just kick themselves a little bit. And of course, that was the prediction by Fidel Castro. He said that he liked the Bucks.
After the topsy-turvy games we've had in this World Series, it's nice to see pitchers assume finally total command, as they have done at least until this point today.
The 0-2 delivery is up and away.
It can bust at any time with either of these teams, as you have learned from the prior games.
Well, one thing about Pittsburgh, they know that if they know what they have to do, or they don't have to worry about coming back tomorrow.
Struck him out. Parker down on strikes for the second time. That's 4 strikeouts for Mike Flanagan.
He's throwing low, Mike is, to Parker today. Don't forget tonight, that big matchup, special edition of NFL football, Sunday night, the Rams against the Cowboys. Tomorrow night, the Jets, with the best running average in the NFL. The worst pass defense, going against the Vikes.
1-0 the count on Bill Robinson, hitting with 2 out and the bases empty in the bottom of the 4th inning. No score. 2-0.
The Giffer, the Dandaroo, and Sir Francis will be together. They'll have to make the trek from Dallas up to New York.
Straight back, 2-1.
I wish you folks could see Drysdale when a foul comes in this direction. Come on, get back in your seat.
2-1 pitch. Line to right center toward the gap. Ken Singleton moving over and misplays it. Singleton couldn't cut it off. And as a consequence, Robinson has a double. Looked like Kenny thought he might have a play on it initially, and then didn't gauge the bounce right. So it's a double for Bill Robinson, the second hit for the Pirates.
Al Flanagan gets the pitch up over the plate, and I think Kenny Singleton, the ball coming off of the bat into the opposite field, that ball's going to be slicing back. Kenny thought that he had a chance at it, but the ball just landed out in front of him. And then, of course, it's just a matter of running it down, and if we can hold him to a double right there, and now you've got the captain. And
once again, Stargell up. Key's time at bat. Runner in scoring position.
Stargell flied out his first trip. And well, it's a bouncing ball to second. Dower has to wait for Murray to get there and retires
6 times with runners in scoring position. Stargell has failed to come through. That's why it's still 0-0. Back in a moment.
Well, we go to the 5th inning in Pittsburgh. Rapidly paced ball game, no score. 2 hits in the game, both belonging to the Pirates. Gary Renicky will be leading things off for the Orioles, and with more play-by-play, the Big D, the Twin D, Double D, D squared. Pick your pick. Don Drysdale.
All right, Al. Gary Renicky to lead it off, and there's Mrs. Renicky. And you know that the wives are all hoping that they can go back home tonight world champions. It'll be Renicky, DeCinces, and Dower in that order.
Now, this is a man Rooker must be very careful of. He's got home run power, hit 25 of them on the season. And the scouting reports on him, Rooker is familiar with, but... Oh, that's a National League strike by an American League umpire.
Well, you've got him working on the inside. You've got him working with that inside chest protector. And you're going to get lower strikes from those kind of umpires. And here you take another peek at it. Right there. 0-1 to Renicky. Change is low. The count 1-1. Renicky, he's a pull hitter. We mentioned before that during the course of the year, that he has hit home runs. He hits them in bunches.
Despite the scouting reports that Rooker is closely studied, Renicky is still lesser known tonight.
Up the alley, Moreno's got to hurry, and he can't get it, has to play it off the wall. Renicky on his way for 2, and he'll make it with a double. Now that is the first hit as you look at Mrs. Renicky. You know, she's happy. Gary standing at second base. Now that is the first Baltimore hit of the afternoon. A leadoff single, check that leadoff double by Renicky standing at second base, and now you've got DeCinces. And here's where execution comes in. DeCinces should be trying to move that ball to the right side.
Now I'm convinced after Howard just said what he did that this is tape delay.
Howard talking about Renicky will get the hit. And he sure did that. He got the double up the alley, standing at second base. DeCinces stands in. He struck out his first time at bat. 1 ball and no strikes.
Again, the scores. Miami rebounding after 2 losses, 17-7 over tough Buffalo. The Bengals with their first victory, crushing injury-riddled Pittsburgh. Then, of course, what a beauty that pitch was. New England giving it to the Chicago Bears. Philadelphia giving it to the Cardinals, coming from behind to do it. Tell you, those Eagles are amazing.
A ball and a strike to DeCinces. With Renicky at second, nobody out. Line drive. Garner can't get it. Base hit right field. Parker will come to the plate. It'll be cut off by Stargell, and Baltimore has runners at first and third with nobody out. Garner went as high as he could go.
Bill tried to time his jump perfectly on a little looper. It looked like at that point he might have a chance, but that's as high as he can possibly go. Just barely deflects it, and of course the runner at second, Renicky, had to hold and then be held at third.
Well, runners at the corners with Renicky at third and DeCinces at first. The first scoring threat for Baltimore. Nobody out. And all of a sudden, they might get some action down in the bullpen. You see Nicosia pointing out the infield and up the middle with Garner and Foley. They set for 2. Madlock a few steps behind the bag at third with Stargell holding DeCinces at first. The outfield all straight away. Dower popped to the first baseman Stargell his first time at bat. 0 for 1. 1 ball and no strikes to count.
There's the sly old fox.
Patiently waiting.
Wry little twinkle in the eye. Sometimes looks like a leprechaun.
Runner goes, and it's fouled away. Now Weaver playing hit and run with Dower and DeCinces. Well, there is tomorrow night's, or I should say Tuesday night's starting pitcher. If they should go that far, he was scheduled, right-hander Bert Blyleven, but Chuck Tanner knows that if he doesn't win today, you forget Tuesday night. It's all over. 1-1 the count to Dower. 2-1. Renicky at third with DeCinces at first. Renicky led off with a double here in the 5th, and DeCinces, a little looping line drive over the glove of the second baseman, Phil Garner. Nobody out, no score. And keep DeCinces close. Runner goes again. Garner underhands to Foley. Back to Stargell. Double play. Renicky scores. Baltimore leads it 1-0.
Well, Dower with the infield at double play depth. He knows the ground ball is going to score a run, and Garner is able to get there. He was moving towards second. And over to Foley in time for the force and back on to Stargell for the double play. But interestingly enough, the only run in the game on the double play. As we take a look again, coming in hard at second base, DeCinces to take out Foley, but he still gets a strong throw over to Stargell. But it's 1-0 Baltimore.
And the catcher, Rick Dempsey, stands in. Fastball away. 1-0 the count.
Key point is they got the run. They continue to make their hits count, even though the hits have been fewer than the number of Pirate hits.
1 ball, 1 strike to Dempsey. He bounced to third his first time at bat, 0 for 1. Chuck Tanner, you've got to feel for Chuck. 2 balls and a strike. You might have tuned in late. This is Tanner, Chuck's mother, passing away this morning. His ball club down 3 games to 1. There's the breaking pitch for the strike, and the count 2-2.
You could see the distraction all over the clubhouse, the dugout. There's Kent, who worked again last night and gave up those hits to Lowenstein and Crowley.
A full count to Dempsey. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, a run in for Baltimore. They lead it 1-0. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. Hard base hit left field.
So that double play Dower hit into looms very large now. Even so, Dempsey getting on is a boon for the Birds because they get Flanagan out of the way and can begin the next inning with Garcia.
Now here is Mike Flanagan, and that's exactly right. You love to have that pitcher come up and lead off the inning if you possibly can. There's Mrs. Flanagan.
That's the young lady you met in the up close and personal in the pregame show.
Breaking pitch is low to Flanagan. He flied to center his first time at bat. Mike is 0 for 1. He was 0 for 4 opening night, but we said he swings the bat pretty good. 2-0 the count. In the inning, the leadoff double by Renicky. The little looping line drive, base hit to right by DeCinces, put runners at first and third. Dower hit into the, there's Blyleven in the bullpen. Dower hit into the double play with a run scoring, and that's where we stand. 2 balls and a strike. Bert Blyleven scheduled to start on Tuesday night, if there is a Tuesday night, but he's going now. 2-2 the count.
Say one thing for Mike, he means business up there. He fancies himself a hitter.
He turns it loose. Now we saw Scott McGregor too. He's a pretty good looking hitting pitcher. And the count goes full at 3-2. And the full count, runner at first, Dempsey will be going with the pitch. Stargell will move in and play in behind. Harvey Haddix, Chuck Tanner. Runner goes, foul away. Haddix, of course, the pitching coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Giants winning their second of 7. Tampa Bay losing their second of 7. Washington beating Cleveland. And what a job Bobby Beathard has done for the Redskins. And putting that team together, they have won 5 of 7.
Runner goes, pitch just outside, and Rooker thought he had him struck out, and so did Nicosia. Now Flanagan walked.
Last thing in the world you want to do. Runner now in scoring position.
There you take another look at it. Boy, that's a close pitch.
It really was. But in the meantime, Garcia, clearly a hot hitter. 6 RBIs in the series. 6 for 12 in the series. Coming to the plate. Rooker, his first inning of trouble. He had not allowed a hit until this, the 5th inning.
Kiko 0 for 2 this afternoon. 1-0 the count. Outside and the count 2-0. Well, all of a sudden home plate starting to bounce around a little bit on Jim Rooker. You saw Chuck Tanner. He is taking the cap off, and that means a signal to the bullpen. Is he ready? Bounce to Foley. He'll underhand to Garner, and the side is retired. But Baltimore comes up with a run in the 5th inning. And after 4.5, it's now Baltimore 1 and Pittsburgh nothing. Well, Bill Madlock to lead it off, and of course Madlock coming to Pittsburgh from the San Francisco Giants. Great trade, and Howard talked to him prior to the game.
Bill, you seem reborn as a member of the Bucks. So different from when you were in San Francisco. What went wrong there?
Well, I think out in San Francisco and the other teams I played for, they try to mold you into being a Giant or a Cub. With a team like the Pirates, you can be yourself. You can enjoy yourself. You can go out and have fun. They enjoy themselves even when they're losing. I guess, like I said before, what I like about this team is not how to react when they win, it's how they react when they lose. And I think I have learned a lot from that, because it's easy to jump up and down when you win, but when you lose, they come in and act the same way, just like got to get tomorrow. They don't put any pressure on no one. I think that's one main thing I like about the Pirates.
Now Bill Madlock to lead it off, followed by Nicosia and Garner.
And he told the exact truth. That team, what a magnificent view. That is the inner city.
There's a base hit up the middle. So Madlock is 2 for 2, and the Bucks are trying to come back. They've got to win today, or there's no tomorrow.
Here's a beautiful hitter, a simply beautiful hitter. That short, straight swing. Seems to be a hitter without a real weakness.
2-time National League batting champion with the Chicago Cubs.
I just wonder if the guaranteed contracts today take away a little bit about that, worrying about if you lose or not. Now runner at first, nobody out. Nicosia stands in. He flied to left his first time at bat.
He was totally right. That's the way the Bucks are as a team, and it gives you kind of glow to see it. But today, of course, the Bucks openly distracted over the loss of their manager's wife. It's Chuck Tanner, the man who's handled so many men so well, who is responsible for Matlock's feeling about that team.
Well, Nicosia's had his talk with third base coach Joe Lynette, and we'll see how Chuck Tanner wants to play right here. They got action in the bullpen, and look out, and they just miss him.
Flanagan with that hesitation, and Madlock almost got caught leaning the other way. Back on a very close play.
Really close. I think inadvertently I said Chuck's wife. It was his mother. It hangs heavy in that dugout.
Now Flanagan with a good move. He's worked on that. A few years ago, he did not have a good move at all to first base. As a matter of fact, he classified it as just outright poor. But he's got a good one now. He'll come up and he'll hesitate, and that makes it a little tough on runners over there if you want to try and get that good jump. If you want to try and cheat a little bit, well, he'll catch you. He can come up and hesitate and hold. Well, it's been the case of Baltimore with the timely base hits. Pittsburgh, who has out-hit Baltimore in the series. They just have not been able to get the timely base hit. 1-0 the count. Baltimore on top, 1-0. We're in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Both clubs with 3 hits apiece. Loop foul out of play. The count 1-1.
You got one of the key points when you keep emphasizing the Bucks' failure to hit in the clutch. They're hitting over 300, 329 for the series coming into this game. Only twice in World Series history has a team batted 300 and still lost the series. The Brooklyn Dodgers in 53 to the Yankees, and the Yankees hit 338 but lost to these very Bucks in 1960.
Well, they move him back again. What Flanagan has done after that first move over there when they just about picked him off, they've kept him close, and there's a strike in the count 1-2 to Nicosia. There's another look at it. Off-speed curveball right there.
Beautiful pitch.
This young man is really quite a pitcher. Good fastball. He'll throw that slow curve in the hard-breaking pitch, and there he holds and goes to first again.
Now Nicosia, who hit 288 on the year with limited duty, is a hitter who'll fool you. He's shown us that he is a real good low ball hitter with good power.
There's the hard-breaking pitch. He tried to nip that inside corner and miss in the count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. The tying run at first base, Bill Madlock, 1-0 Baltimore, bottom of the 5th. Fouls it away. The count remains 2-2.
Now you saw Mike. The last 2 pitches, he got the ball up. They're learning. Don't forget tonight on ABC, Out of the Blue, a new kind of family. Extraordinary. Robin Williams, Mork and Mindy, the Associates, starting at 7 Eastern, 6 Central.
Mike just wants Madlock to know that he's certainly aware that he's over there. Good change.
What a pitch, and down. Did you see, Don? Mixing them up.
There's another look at it, Al.
Well, Flanagan, he's that type of pitcher. You can't really go up there looking for off-speed stuff. It's very difficult. I know very few hitters who've ever said, I can go to the plate and expect an off-speed pitch. It's the other way around. You got to go up thinking hard stuff. And he's thrown off again. So that's 5 strikeouts now for Flanagan.
Here's the little pepper pot, and Lee Lacy, pinch hitter extraordinaire, on deck.
And Phil Garner to stand in. He tried to push a bunt by Flanagan his first time at bat, and Flanagan threw him out. There's Lacy in the on-deck circle, so Tanner going to the bullpen early.
Lee, as I've suggested in earlier games, hit 5 pinch hit home runs for the Dodgers in a given year. The all-time record established by Johnny Frederick of the Brooklyn Dodgers back in the late 20s with 6.
Hit well left field, but it appears to be playable. Ayala to the warning track to make the catch, and Madlock has to go back.
What a little pepper pot that Garner is, though. He's had a difficult series in the field, but it hasn't affected his hitting at all.
This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Here's Lacy. Well, you've got to say Rooker did his job. A surprise starter and gives up a run on 3 hits. Blyleven will come on to take over the pitching chores. There's Bird down in the bullpen for Pittsburgh. We mentioned before he was going to be the scheduled starter on Tuesday night. But Chuck Tanner knows that if they don't win today, there will be no Tuesday night. Baltimore. That's what they would like to do. But so far, Baltimore on top 3-1, and Lacy fouls it down the left field line. Flanagan's got a few pitches up. He got the pitch up to Garner that sent Ayala to the warning track. He got that pitch up to Lacy. That's Madlock at first with Murray holding.
It's the bottom of the 5th. It is 1-0 Baltimore. And accumulating tension begins to present itself. You can feel it in the arena.
Good change in the count 0-2.
Rucker out. As you look at the number of pitches he threw inning by inning, he never threw more than 16 in any inning, except the 5th when he threw 26. That's when he gave up the run.
Hit to the hole. DeCinces. His throw is no throw.
The turf made that a hit. Nothing but the turf. However, he may have been mistaken in cutting it off. He poached, as they say in tennis.
Absolutely, as it goes to the hole, Garcia, if he comes up with a play, might have a force out at second base. And Kiko looks like he's ready. He's in position to pick it up and throw over to second, but all of a sudden, DeCinces is right there.
And Doug just can't get his footing as he goes down, and now
It's a base hit, but one must adjudge that DeCinces made a mental mistake.
well, it would have been an easy play for Garcia. As Al said, he was right there. All he's got to do is catch it, go the short way. It would have been a close play at second base. The ball was not hit that hard. Here's Omar Moreno, and there's Mrs. Moreno.
Mrs. Moreno.
Curveball for the strike. He's
Time
gonna
and
see-
again, Omar has been up in tough situations. There she is with the whistle.
Moreno 0 for 2 today. Has struck out and popped to short. Oh, and 2 the count. I'll tell you one thing, Moreno is going to go home, and he's going to go to bed all winter looking at left-handers' curveballs off of this Baltimore staff. There's his stat right there.
That tells the story.
That's it.
He and Willie Stargell are the ones who are the great Willie. Fairness of honest reporting, Willie too.
Struck him out. The other side retired, and after 5, it's still 1-0 Baltimore, and we'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. So it'll be Al Bumbry. He will come on, and he will take over for Benny Ayala, and you can insert him in that second spot, and he undoubtedly will go into center field.
Quite a difference, eh? Well, it's my pleasure and privilege to tell all of you that Bob Uecker is here in the ballpark today, but not masked, wearing no fictitious, or presuming to be no fictitious figure. The great catcher of the past, probably the best 190 hitting catcher in the history of baseball.
Now Blyleven comes on. Burt worked 6 innings in game 2, allowed 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned. He had no decision. Bumbry leading it off. Pop to shallow left center, and there is Robinson moving over. That is out number 1. Now we go to Ken Singleton. Singleton is flying to center, and he was caught looking. Kenny 0 for 2. Game moving along and running out of time. It is Baltimore 1, Pittsburgh nothing, in a do-or-die game for the Pirates.
That's why there is the tension hanging heavy in this ballpark now. They know there are only a matter of innings, and yet there is only 1 run to be obtained by the Pirates to be right back.
1 ball, no strikes.
Birds themselves desperate for an insurance run, with reliance upon their ace, 23-game winner Mike Flanagan.
2 balls and no strikes. Well, once again, you see Pittsburgh out hitting Baltimore, but Pittsburgh just cannot come up with that key base hit. Baltimore can. It's a 2-hopper hit to Garner. And And that is out number 2. Here's Eddie Murray. He is fly to right, and he popped to Garner at second base. 0 for 2.
Eddie Murray had a big night against Bert Blyleven. A homer, a double, and a single. Lashed that homer into the middle deck at Memorial Stadium. Remember, Dunn?
I do. He got it changed. It was up over the plate. But just didn't take too much off of it. There's where we'll be, if necessary, on Tuesday night. Game 6 from Baltimore, 8 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday, the same time, if necessary, in Game 7. 1-0 the count. One to nothing Baltimore. We're in the top of the 6th. Two and 0 the count. Pitch was not that close. Eddie just spinning out of there and losing the cap and batting helmet.
This is a strong fellow, this Eddie Murray. As Don said, the pitch was not that close. Eddie was hanging in there, waiting to see if it would tail off.
Tailed off. 2-0. There's the strike, and the count goes to 2-1.
You don't want to let one like that go by, Mr. Drysdale.
Pretty good pitch as you look at manager Earl Weaver. And I think Eddie Murray would like to say, let me have one more of those, please. Blyleven starting before Murray was ready, and Eddie calling time. 2 balls and a strike, 2 outs. We're in the top of the 6th. The Orioles lead it 1-0. 2-2 the count. I'll tell you, it almost have bet your house and lot that Pittsburgh would not get swept 3 games here at Three River Stadium.
Well, they haven't been swept yet.
Next pitch is hit to the hole right there. Garner goes right under his glove, and Parker will make the play and get it back in. I think Garner just got his feet crossed up.
Shaking his head.
There you see Phil moving over.
There he is as Garner goes to his left. It looks like he gets there in time, and let's see if he does get his feet crossed up, as Don just referred to. As you can see, the ball went underneath his glove, just skidded on him.
Didn't get his glove down.
That he might have got on the wrong foot.
What are the 3 official scorers doing?
They have not made a statement as yet.
We are not dealing with a problem in nuclear physics.
This is Renicky. There's a curveball and a good one for a strike. And they give him an error. Renicky led off the 5th inning with a double off of the starter Jim Rooker. Moved to third on a base hit to right and scored on a double play. There's a good curveball. 0-2 the count. Blyleven showing an excellent curveball. There's a stat that's a little surprising right there. Since 1972, his first relief appearance. Curveball swung on Wickley and missed.
What a curveball.
So Baltimore is gone in the 6th inning as you look at it again. And after 5 1/2, it is Baltimore 1 and Pittsburgh nothing. Gary Renicky will move over to left field from his starting center field position, and Al Bumbry, who came on to pinch hit, he stays in the game and he's in center field. Earl Weaver has his best defensive outfield out there right now as they try to go to some weather here over the last 4 innings.
This is Foley and the baby.
Foley to lead it off. Low, ball 1. Tim is flying to center, and he has bounced to third.
We flip for Foley.
Low ball 2. 2-0.
That's all it takes. Get these fans aroused. That's right there, that little baby. That's why Tim was so thrilled to get the new 5-year contract.
There's the strike, and the count goes to 2-1. It'll be Foley, Parker, and Robinson.
It's something to begin the season with the Mets and to wind up playing for the World Championship.
That's the first ball 3 count that Flanagan has had on any hitter this afternoon. That shows you about what Mr. Flanagan is made of.
There's a growing feeling in this ballpark now.
The 3-1 pitch. He walks him. Flanagan not too happy with that call, nor was Dempsey.
Well, they've got themselves an American League umpire there. They don't have a lot to complain about. But Dave Parker, Bill Robinson, and Willie Stargell. Sure did look like a strike, I must say.
Here's Dave Parker, has struck out twice against Flanagan. Here's where the Bucks are hoping that they can get back to the form of Mr. Parker in Game 1 when he had 4 hits off of Flanagan. Baltimore on top 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and time running out on the Bucks.
You got their lineup done. 4 innings to get 1 run? No. Plenty of time.
There's plenty of time. There's a man right there that can also equalize anything that you might want to do in a hurry. Mike Flanagan.
But he's human.
Oh, yeah. Misses inside. There's the Baltimore bullpen. Stoddard on the left and Tippy Martinez over on the right, the left-hander. Stoddard, big game yesterday. And Baltimore's also big come from behind win. Base hit center field.
See what I mean?
Foley to second, and he'll hold right there as Bunbury gets on it in a hurry.
You can get Parker only so often. And now a tough hitter. Bill Robinson with 24 homers on the season, who has already clipped Flanagan for that double to right center.
Now there's nobody out. Robinson stands in 1 for 2. You look at Parker again.
And Parker, after striking out twice, delivering the blow here into center field. So Parker with 4 hits off Flanagan in Game 1. Mike had his number the first 2 times up today. And now Robinson coming up first and second.
Now Robinson has bounced to third. He doubled in the 4th. He was left stranded at second base, and here you put yourself in a position. If you're Chuck Tanner, runners at first and second, you're down a run, you're in the 6th. Do you bunt with Robinson? Do you let him hit? We'll see how they want to go. They're going to bunt, and it's out in front of the plate, and a good one. Flanagan has but 1 play, and that's to Murray at first. The runners move up for Stargell.
Chuck Tanner made the right play, the only play.
Yes, sir.
Got to tie this game. He's at home. You play to tie. You don't play around. And once again, Willie Stargell in a key situation. Runners on second and third.
And Earl Weaver to the mound, Howard.
One Hawkins back to the late Frankie Frisch and his classic maxim. Oh, those bases on balls.
Oh, you hang around this game and you'd work games every day of the week throughout the course of the year, and it's amazing how many base on balls come back to score. Absolutely staggering.
Well, what do you think he told them, Al?
I don't know, but whatever Weaver says whenever he goes out, he knows exactly what's on his mind. You'll see some managers go out there, say a few words, maybe counsel with a couple of other players, but Earl goes out every single time and says, look, this is the way it is. Everybody listens. Away he goes back to the dugout.
Well, you got a great hitter up next in Bill Matlock. 2 for 2 today, 7 for 16 on the series. Got a left-hander pitcher.
Here's Stargell. Misses a one.
Do you pitch carefully to him? Give him nothing to hit. Put him on. Hope for the double play. Flanagan should walk him. Do you come in with a right-handed reliever?
Hit hard. Well, the thing here, Stargell, if he just makes contact to any part of the infield, Pittsburgh is going to pick up a run outside of something hit hard to DeCinces at third. He's the short man.
Well, you saw Willie go for the golf ball. hitting the low pitch again.
A ball and a strike to Stargell. 1 out, 2 on. 1-0 Baltimore. We're in the bottom half of the 6th. Misses low. 2-1.
Willie can atone for a lot with a base hit here. All else will be forgotten.
Bunbury deep in the alley right center. Kiko Garcia is deep and behind the line at his shortstop position. Dower towards the hole between first and second. Hit well, it will score the run. There's Bunbury, runner's tag. Bunbury with the catch. Here comes Foley, Parker to third. It's a tie game at 1.
No quit in the Bucks. No quit. Look at it again.
Boy, Stargell stayed on that curveball nice.
Now they scratch and claw.
Bunbury has no play on Foley. He's going to Parker at third, but no play to get the big man there. Now the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Bill Madlock already 2 for 2. And the Buck fans come alive as they have tied it at 1. 1-0 the count.
And this guy can kill you.
And the base on balls has come back to tie the game. The only man that Flanagan went to a 3-ball count on, he eventually walked him. That was Tim Foley. To center field, that's a base hit. Here comes Parker, it's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Oh, again he comes through. He is now 8 out of 17 on the series, and with the Bucks to come on to win it, he'll be getting consideration despite some fielding lapses as the MVP. Oh, is he tough?
Bill Madlock, he had already solved Flanagan twice today with a couple of hits. Picks up his 3rd of the day. Madlock, and we said it before, the depth of the Pirate lineup, how they can hit. Best illustrated by the fact the man's won a couple of batting titles, yet hit 6th in the order.
This is Nicosia. Madlock at first, hit to the third baseman, DeCinces. The long throw, they gotta hurry, and they get him.
Oh, what a great scoop by Eddie Murray, and for that matter, a good play by DeCinces. Today we're getting a beautifully played ball game. Look at it again, Al.
Doug DeCinces making about as long a throw as you'll ever see a third baseman make, not only in foul territory, but well back of the bag. And the great scoop at first.
So the Bucks score 2, and through 6, it's 2-1 Pittsburgh. Well, there you are, Howard. You know that town well.
I'm going back. I'm going back.
What a beautiful,
glorious shot.
Great. Now
Look
from Three Rivers Stadium. And that's where we are. That's where the action is. I'm Don Drysdale with Al Michaels, Howard Cosell. A do-it-or-die game for the Pittsburgh Pirates through 6. It's Pittsburgh, 2 runs, 6 hits, an error. Baltimore, a run on 3 hits, no errors. And we go to the 7th, and once again, here's Al.
I wonder what Jim Palmer is thinking.
Jim Palmer would be the starter in game number 6 on Tuesday night. As Bert Blyleven with a 1-run lead now goes to work on Doug DeCinces to start the 7th inning. Foul at the plate, 0-1.
You give Drysdale a couple of innings, he'll always get you runs. It never changes.
DeCinces has struck out single. This is the first time he has faced Blyleven. Jim Rooker pitched very well through 5, allowing just the 1 run. Blyleven on in the 6th and now working in the 7th. Fouled away in the count 0-2.
Now there's going to be a tough play if that that ball is going to be fair. There's Palmer. He's loosening up, and I would say mainly for the start if they need him. They'll have an off day tomorrow, and then play, if necessary, will resume, and that will be from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore on Tuesday night. Game time, 8 o'clock Eastern.
You've got to ride an elevator with these two teams. Their comeback capacity is just tremendous. So with 3 innings to go, it's a long way to go for the Bucks.
Here's a big inning for Bert Blyleven. His team has put him on top by a run. If he can go out there and then just shut out Baltimore right here, you've got that adrenaline going for the Pirates to come back in the 7th inning.
The 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging.
Oh, boy. He has really pitched to Sensei beautifully, and yet the Sensei had a career batting average going into the series of .344 against him.
There's a different type breaking pitch from Blyleven. He has that deep overhand, deep cutting curve, as the late Charlie Dressen would say, but right there flattens it out. Good pitch.
Rich Dauer popped out, hit into a double play. A strike. That's the way the Orioles got their only run. Runners at first and third. And the double play scoring the man from third as Blyleven just delivered a 91-mile-an-hour fastball to Dauer.
A National League strike.
Right there. Right there again.
Yep. 0-2. Boy, has Blyleven pitched well in postseason play.
He has the look of a hot pitcher, Al.
He was sparkling in the game that clinched the playoffs against Cincinnati and pitched well in Game 2. Easy play for Tim Foley. 2 down.
Give Chuck Tanner credit for bringing in Blyleven. A brilliant move. And you consider this man hasn't been used in relief since '72.
But Howard, I'll tell you, in a game like this, you can't hold them back. You know when they open up again? Next spring. That's when your next start will be.
Dempsey looks at a strike. 0-1.
There's Chuck Tanner. Bob Skinner on his right. Harvey Haddock's the pitching coach on his left.
Seeing Bradenton.
The 0-1 is fouled back. 0-2.
You think that Dutchman isn't pumped up? Whew. Born in Zeist, Holland.
Lined into center field for a base hit. Moreno goes deep to cut it off. Dempsey's going to try to take the extra base, and he's in there.
I tell you, they never stop fighting. Not either one of these teams. It's been the pattern of this series.
Well, Earl Weaver's going to go to the bullpen. He's got his man that was in that designated hitter spot all season long down in that on-deck circle, Lee May. Now, whether he is being called back or not, I don't know. On that play by Marino, that ball was kind of cutting and rolling away from him a little bit, but I'm surprised that he rounded it off that far instead of getting over to cut it off. Now, he just keeps going back on the ball. He's got better speed than that. The further he goes to the alley, why, the more Dempsey is just turning it into overdrive and going to second base.
Well, Weaver's going to go to the bench, and as you look at Pat Kelly, May was out into the on-deck circle, and now Pat Kelly, the left-hand batter, instead of the right-hand hitting May, with a man at second coming up. And Chuck Tanner is on his way to the mound.
Well, here's a case where you've got Kelly coming on, you've got first base open, and you've got the leadoff hitter, Kiko Garcia, a right-hand hitter, in that on-deck circle. And here, Chuck Tanner, you infielders have to know one thing. Any ball hit by you one way or the other, to the left or to the right, you've got to dive, you've got to knock it down if you can. You can't let it go through.
You talk about hustle. Look at Rick Dempsey.
I'll tell you, Rick Dempsey has been on cloud 10 since the opening of the playoff series with the California Angels. He has been pumped up as much as you can pump a person up. Look at that. He almost slides right over the bag.
Well, let's see what... the career record against Blyleven, not good, but then DeCinces was great, and Blyleven has eaten up Doug in this series. Just eating him up.
A lot of those things in World Series, well, you just put them away.
Blyleven throws back to second, and the ball gets away, but not far enough. As Bird spun the other way, which a lot of pitchers are starting to do.
Now you've got Grant Jackson in the bullpen warming up. Get the left-hander ready. Game of chess goes on now in full force. Let's see what the orders were with regard to pitching to Kelly.
Ran it in on him. Check swing. They appeal. Don't get the call. Ball 1. 1-0. The third base umpire, Bob Engel. Pirates 2, Orioles 1. 2 out of the 7th inning. Dempsey with a double off Blyleven, the first hit yielded by Burt. 2-0.
Well, I would be very surprised if they come back even with a fastball here. Kelly is a good triple hitter. He gets ahead of you, and you just think, well, I'll just throw a little fastball in there and try and get the count even again. Look out. And he didn't, but he missed. And they call it.
This time they get the strike. 2-1.
Kelly knows it.
He was a cripple shooter in that final game at Anaheim.
Oh,
the
yes,
three-run
he
homer.
He did, and he hit it a ton.
Whoa. 2-2. What a rip.
You think he isn't? He'd like to have that one back. Pat, after that swing, just gritting his teeth and saying, oh, no.
Game 6. If the Pirates can keep it alive on Tuesday, we know it'll be Jim Palmer. Chuck Tanner, he'll worry about that later. He just wants to get there.
Staff.
Yeah.
Planning dinner in Baltimore?
Well, wouldn't be all that bad.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Dempsey at second, 2 down.
Got it.
Blyleven goes 2-0 with Kelly and then comes back to get him.
What a curveball he got him with, Al.
No runs, a hit. Dempsey stranded at second. Middle of the 7th inning, 2-1, Bucks. From our helicopter, looking down into Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Pirates came up with 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning, trying to stay alive. First game in Baltimore, won by the Orioles, and the Buccos evened it up in game 2. As one of yesterday's stars, Tim Stoddard.
Yesterday's hero.
Yep. Find out about him today. Stoddard on in relief in the bottom of the 7th inning. The 6'7", former basketball star at North Carolina State. Played on an NCAA champion Wolfpack team. Facing Garner, Blyleven, and Marino in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1-0. This is Phil Garner.
Well, she says, takes it easy now, Phil. They'll be walking into any of those fastballs like that. That thing, Phil got to slap a little color back in his face.
Ooh.
He almost walked into a tailing fastball, and this big guy can turn it loose.
1 ball and 1 strike.
In yesterday's game, in the 3 innings that Stoddard worked, he got in a good workout. He threw 44 pitches. That's not bad.
Got his first hit in organized ball, drove in a run.
That's unbelievable. You think that isn't a storybook?
Incredible. You dream about that. 1-2. In the bullpen, the left-hander Tippy Martinez throwing back of Stoddard.
I'm not going to worry about the amount of time Stoddard worked yesterday. Look at the size of it.
I had to laugh after yesterday's game at the ending. You know how Dempsey, he gets so fired up, he'll go out and jump up on a pitcher. He jumped up, he just kind of went out and grabbed Stoddard. he couldn't lift him up at all.
Three and 2 on Garner. Flanagan gave up 2 runs, 6 hits in 6 innings of work. Walked only 1, and that came back to kill him. Struck out 6. Chopper. No play for Garcia. Phil Garner an infield single to start the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, here you may as well just pick it up, stick it in your pocket, and forget about it, because Garner, who runs well, Garcia made a fine barehanded, the only way that he'd ever have any chance whatsoever. Look at how far Garner was by the bat.
So now Blyleven comes up, presumably to punt. DeCinces will play in shallow at third. Murray wants to get together with Dower.
Well, everybody in the ballpark knows what Blyleven will be doing right here. The thing that you've got to think about on the artificial surface, when you go to bunt, you've got to make sure, you've got to really practice a lot. You've got to really deaden that ball. Just to get a bat on it and push it somewhere, that doesn't mean a thing, because it gets to a charging infielder or back to the pitcher in a hurry.
Bert Blyleven's wife.
Go to first as Garner gets back.
Tell you, on this artificial turf, Al, I think of the old Casey Stengel axiom. Butcher boy the ball.
Butcher boy. Hit
Butcher
down on
boy it. Hit it down.
That's just what Garner did when he got on first base.
That's right. You butcher boy the ball, and the ball goes 12 feet in the air, and it never comes down. That's the way to use this artificial turf.
That's Harry Walker's theory of hitting.
That's right.
Swing away and butcher it down. Garner goes crawling back in.
You know, I mentioned yesterday about Stoddard throwing the 44 pitches in relief. Only 35 of those were strikes.
Hey, cut that ball over there well.
He does. That's something about this Baltimore staff. Boy, every one of them, they come right at you. They don't fool around. They don't nitty-pick.
Garner a very sizable lead as Blyleven takes up high ball 1. Interesting, Stoddard does have a good move, does a good job, which is interesting for a pitcher who is so big. You see a lot of fellows 6'6" and 6'7" who have a lot of problems.
Well, there's Miller going out to the mound, and he's going to probably tell Stoddard, now look it. Don't let him bother you over there to where all of a sudden you end up losing this guy at the plate. They're going to bunt, let him bunt, and we'll go about from there.
Repeats on the football scores. The stunning upset of the injury-riddled Steelers by Cincinnati 34-10. Philadelphia keeps its record with only 1 defeat. And, of course, the Giants crushing San Francisco. New Orleans destroying Tampa Bay. Washington over Cleveland 13-9. Tonight, the Rams against the Cowboys. Live from Dallas, Texas. 9 o'clock Eastern time. I'll make it Irving, Texas. Technically, Texas Stadium. Tony Dorsett and the gang against the Rams defense.
Blyleven gets it down, but Stoddard's going to go to second, and they get to fours.
Oh, ho, ho.
Well, you've got to be impressed with Stoddard, a man of that size, fielding his position that well, down off the mound in a hurry. Throwing to Garcia, they erase the lead man, and with 1 out, Blyleven's at first.
Well, the ball has to be bunted. You got to take it off. You see Blyleven getting his hands out there quite a ways, but here's Stoddard. He got off the mound very good. He wheeled, and right there, a perfect throw to Garcia.
That's what he used to do to David Thompson. Wing the ball in. He had more assists that way.
Here is Marino. Crowd really got on Omar after the 5th inning when he struck out with 2 men on. And the ever-present whistle of Mrs. Marino.
You know something? We may vote in the booth for her for the MVP.
She blows that whistle again. Stoddard's going to stop thinking the foul was called.
When you stop to think of the way Garner butcher boyed the ball, remember Stoddard is 6'7". He got it over him.
2-0 the count.
Stoddard not too happy with that call.
Marino waiting in the box. Stoddard taking his time. Bucks ahead 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th with 1 out. 2-1. One out. The count, 2 balls and a strike on Marino. Hit foul off to the left and out of play, and the count 2-2.
And the one thing you get when you don't get that sacrifice down, and you got to have your pitcher at first base in Blyleven, the main thing, one of the things that it kind of clogs up the bases on anything that might transpire with this man standing here with Moreno.
Soft looper foul. Outside third and a broken bat, so Omar will get a new piece of wood. In the bullpen for the Orioles now.
Stan the man unusual.
Bullpack.
Houston has defeated Baltimore on the margin 12. Denver is pouring it on Kansas City. Red Miller's team holding together, and New England has ripped Chicago. Green Bay has taken the lead over Detroit. Oakland is slugging Atlanta, and San Diego and the toughie holding on against Seattle.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Marino with Blyleven at first base. 1 away. The 2-2 pitch. Grounded, and a great stop by Garcia. The force at second. What a play by Kiko.
Exactly what Don Drysdale was talking about. In a situation like this, the World Series at stake, isolated now on Garcia. You dive, you throw the body, you don't let that ball go through. And that's what you see right here. Now, look at that. And as circumstances would have it, he could easily execute the force play. A great play by Garcia that has the ripple effect of getting that man, Marino, on first base. Look for the attempted steal.
Well, Foley, he knows one thing. He's going to get some heat. They're not going to be moving around and fooling around with any off-speed pitches. There's too many of those for this big guy out there, and Marino at first base. And there's a case of clogging up the bases again, Al. If that sacrifice is down, you got runners at first and third.
Instead, 2 out. Marino at first base, a strike. Remember, the Pirates have not stolen a base in this series. Marino at 77 during the regular season.
Well, this is the time to go. Don't you agree, Don?
I got to try and make something happen right here.
They pitch out, nothing doing.
You know what Baltimore's thinking. The guy's got to go.
I'd pitch out again right here.
And Jackie Robinson would have come up and slugged him.
There's a thing, Stoddard. That's not a bad move. It's a good move. A man on first base that has good speed. Make him stop. Make him stop. Don't let him get that walking lead and go on you. Don't let him stay on his toes. Try and make him hold on his toes if he wants to. Pretty soon he's got to get a little tired and go back on his heel. That's when you pitch.
One and one. Stoddard. Good move to first base. Marino. Average size lead at the moment. Now stretching it out. And again he drives him back.
I tell you, Stoddard keeps his poise.
He's got a good move, too. It's quick, like you said, Al, for a big guy. The key to it doesn't really make any difference how big you are, honestly. It's how quick you can move your feet. That's the key to any pickoff.
That was your problem.
No, I didn't have that problem. Either have quick feet or a quick knee.
And again the move, and this time it gets by Murray, who picks up the carom and throws to second, and it's not in time.
Just when I said he kept his poise.
Well, here's a tough play for Eddie Murray. That throw down into the runner. And, boy, that is Death Valley. And actually, it hits Marino. Murray almost came up with a super play because he got on that ball in a hurry. A good, strong throw to Garcia. And Moreno had to hustle to get down there safely.
The error to Stoddard, the first Oriole error of the day, and the 1-1 pitch to Foley is lined into right center field for a base hit, and Moore's it'll roll all the way to the fence. Marino scores, that makes it 3-1. Foley is on his way to third. Dower will just eat it in the outfield, and it's 3-1 Bucks.
Now the folks are seeing their Bucks the way they've played all year. Foley again, the contact hitter. The guy who virtually never strikes out. The guy who uses the infield to get hits, and then he'll hit you with one like that. Perfectly placed. And look at those fans. And here comes Earl Weaver.
He's going to go to the left-hander right now. The outfield playing extremely shallow, and Foley couldn't have just taken a 2-iron and hit it out there any better than that. That ball is just over the glove of Dower. Now it's slicing away from Bunbury, and by the time they roll it through and pick it up off the wall, Moreno scores easily, and Foley on at third with a triple.
Quite a World Series, ladies and gentlemen. Quite a World Series. Two evenly matched teams. As I said, clatching and strong. We'll be back.
Tempe Martinez on in relief, his second appearance in the series. He worked in Game 2 Thursday night, worked an inning plus, gave up no runs and one hit, and he's brought in here to face the left-hand batting Parker to try to end the inning with 2 down. Well, they may be doing that as they lead 3-1. Chuck Tanner with his team having his backs to the wall coming in. Tim Foley, his wife, and baby. As Foley has just delivered a triple, just driving a run in the 7th.
What a marvelous picture. It's as if the child understands what the daddy just did. Oh, let's go back to Baltimore. Well, they were still playing the old Camptown Races theme on radio this morning. The fans held together, and so apparently has the team. But between these two teams, this game far from over. The Cobra. Next to it, Foley's followers. Bill Mazeroski throwing out the first ball, reviving the memories of the home run he hit against Ralph Terry, the high fastball in the bottom of the 9th of the final game.
Parker swings and misses 0-1.
And they have visions of that all over again here in Pittsburgh. Singing the Bucks are going all the way to the tune of Camptown Races. Parker, you see the sign in the upper deck, hit it here. He can, gets his pitch. But to hit a home run against this kid, it would be the first one since Aurelio Rodriguez hit one off him in May of '78. Since then, Martinez has not given up a home run, an incredible statistic.
Big run out there at third for the Pirates.
1-1 pitch to Parker. He'll get the run in with a drive into the gap in left center field. Foley scores to make it 4-1. And Parker will stop at second with a double.
So the Bucks have exploded. They are looking like the team that drove to the pennant. Earl Weaver has spoken his piece. I'm not a genius. If they produce my players, then I'm a genius. Here it is again.
He gets the pitch out over the plate, and he just goes right with it beautifully. That ball hit to the gap. No one had a chance whatsoever to catch a big run scoring. The score now 4-1.
Don't you love to see a hitter go with the pitch that way, Al? Remember the way Parker closed the season? Next to the last game, 5 for 5. Going with the pitch outside to left, hitting inside out.
Robinson takes inside, and that's part of the reason that Parker is no stranger to the batting title. A man that big, everybody thinks of him as a dead pull hitter. It's not the case with Dave. He uses the whole field. 2-0. Why fight location? If they're going to work you that way, go with it.
Sly Fox He hasn't given up yet.
One hopper to DeCinces on a broken bat bouncer. And that'll do it in the 7th. But the Pirates come up with 2 more runs, 3 hits, and we'll go to the 8th. It's 4-1 Pittsburgh. Back after this word from our local station.
Kind of pretty, isn't it?
Oh, what a sight. The sun going down. Three River Stadium. Make all the Pittsburgh jokes you want. I'll tell you, the shots we've had from overhead have been beautiful today.
No Pittsburgh jokes from this quarter. No Baltimore jokes either. My feelings are known.
We've had some great shots from that hill. I'll tell you, in this whole series, we've had some great shots from the guys.
For the Orioles is shortstop Chico Garcia.
Well, it's altogether possible that the Twin D will be having dinner tonight at Danny's, at Pimlico Hotel, or any restaurant close to where we stay in Baltimore. But, Al, unfortunately, I want to tell you right here and now, we've enjoyed having you so much, man. You're just a professional.
I appreciate that, and I know I'll be getting a suntan out in California tomorrow thinking about you with your thermals.
And leading up to the fact that there's game number 6, as we look at a call ball to start the inning from Blyleven to Kiko Garcia. I'm referring to the fact that Keith Jackson will be back from football and with us Tuesday night.
1-1 the count on Garcia. 92-mile-an-hour fastball from Blyleven.
And here's another big inning for Blyleven. His team has just scored. You go back out again with a thought in mind, shut the opposition out, shut them down in a hurry.
2-1 the count.
Jackson and Tekulve working in the Bucks bullpen. The thing to remember about Blyleven is nobody, but nobody, has a better curve in baseball than that man.
2-2 on Garcia.
It's always just amazed me of the good pitchers that I've seen that had the good hard curve, how they ever had it, how they ever got it that big and that sharp. The Ryans, the Koufaxes,
well, when you don't
Erskines.
have that, you turn to the spitter, Doc. You know that.
Oh, no.
3-2 the count.
Well, the great thing is, if we go back to Baltimore, we get to fly with Euchre.
Shatters his bat, bounce down to Foley, and one shortstop throws out the other. One away.
I'd like to have somebody check the record for shattered and splintered bats in a series. Well, we've had a lot of them. Here's another one that just blows up on Garcia. Now, he got it out on the end of the bat, and that's going to shatter a few right there.
That was a pretty pitch in the clutch. There was little the batter could do with that.
Al Bumbry pinch hit for Benny Ayala in the 6th inning, then fly to left. Blyleven in his first relief appearance in 7.5 years.
This is the man who tortures Al Bumbry. Al 3 for 35 against him on a career basis. I said the other night when I talked to Al about it, I was about to interview Blyleven. He said, talk to him about it. If you find anything out, let me know. I need help.
Well, here's a guy here. You don't want to put him on. You're up by 3, but all of a sudden you put him on and you're just asking for trouble.
The 2-0 pitch, a strike at the count 2-1.
Now questioning the call a little bit, but watch it for yourself.
The 2-1 is low, ball 3, and the count 3-1. Bumbry inserted into the lineup in place of Ayala, so hitting in the 2 spot. Singleton is on deck with 1 out and the bases empty. 4-1 Pittsburgh in the 8th inning. Count full.
I like the way this man is pitching. Should there be a 7th game somewhere, you'll see Blyleven.
And Bunbury is on. So he did exactly what Don Drysdale said you don't want to do right now, especially with Singleton coming up and Murray on deck.
They're tough. But this man appears to have good stuff. Outstanding.
Now you see what that double by Parker did and how big a run that Foley scored, scoring the 4th run. If they don't do that, all of a sudden you put a man on, and every man that comes up there following, you're looking at the potential tying run.
Exactly right.
Singleton hitless today. The second time he's faced Blyleven. He bounced to second, facing Bird in the 6th inning. Ground ball off Blyleven's glove, backhanded by Garner to Foley, 1 to Oh, what a double play!
Now you see the Pirates, as I said, who drove to the pennant. A brilliant double play at the exactly right time.
That's one of the finer double plays that you'll ever want to see. This ball hit by Singleton. Blyleven just got a glove on it. Now watch this backhanded flip by Garner. He makes the play backhanded and then just flips it in the air over the bag. Foley's there to make the catch. Bunbury coming in and Foley fighting off the runner to double him up.
So the Orioles are gone in the top of the 8th, and the Bucks come up with a score. Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore 1.
Well, they talk about the game of baseball being a game of inches. And this is exactly what Blyleven just tipped the ball. I don't know whether that Garner could have got that ball if he does not tip it. And look at that flip back to Foley. And they double up Singleton easily. And boy, that's a key double play. Otherwise, you've got the tying run at the plate in Eddie Murray.
Well, it all comes into focus. This is a great World Series. It has been from the beginning.
Willie Stargell and Mrs. Willie Stargell.
And here is the great man, the presence, the leader. You know what they're doing in this town through Willie Stargell and his efforts? They're building a great new Willie Stargell Foundation.
And into right field, and Stargell has his first hit of the day.
So that his efforts to improve community life in the whole of the Pittsburgh area will no longer be limited merely to the magnificent work he's done with sickle cell anemia. But now we'll deal with all of the underprivileged, the disadvantaged. And here comes this man, Bill Matlock, as Weaver comes to the mound.
He's already pointed. He's made his decision as he crossed the line. He'll go to, it appears, Don Stanhouse.
So the 4th Oriole pitcher of the day.
Look at the lineup for tonight. We're still the one. Out of the blue, a new kind of family. Mork and Mindy and the new big hit show, The Associates. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Pacific. Then you know what comes after that. The Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. Incidentally, Garner has tied a record, hasn't he, Don? 8 double plays, most double plays by a second baseman he's participated in the World Series. Yep, there it is. By a second baseman.
But an interesting series for Phil Garner.
Yes.
Sets a fielding record on one hand. The GOAT in Game 1 on the other hand. He's been hitting.
Let me tell you something. I have stated that Willie Stargell on 6 occasions in this series has failed to hit with runners in scoring position. Now he's singled with nobody on. I talked candidly with Willie about it.
You know what troubles me about you, Willie? You've got a high hitting percentage in this series, but you know as well as I that 5 times with runners on base you have not hit, which is an uncommon thing for you.
I know, and I think probably the biggest play yesterday was with a man on first and second and no outs, and Steve Stone was pitching. I was doing some guessing, Because Stone in the past, when he was pitching with the Cubs, he would start me out with a high fastball in, and then he would start throwing me breaking balls. And there I am with my big dumb self looking for a breaking ball. And he threw another high necker in, and that's when he shot at my bat. But I think the most important thing is what you're doing in those key situations. And I've told people many times, my thrill is to go up when those situations call for it and make that all-out effort. If I do, I'm very satisfied. If I don't, it's not because I'm not trying. And believe me, no one tries to do the things that needs to be done more so than I, because I enjoy and I compete with myself more than I do anything. So baseball is very simple. Either you do or you don't. And I didn't the 5 times that you're referring to.
What a marvelous man. You talk about candor. You talk about maturity. The man is a presence in this city.
Wilbur Darnell Stargell, the captain of the Bucks, as you look at Bill Madlock, who is 3 for 3 today. Drove in the go-ahead run in the 6th inning. The Pirates lead it 4-1. To center. He has his 4th hit. Stargell is running all the way, and Willie will pull in at 3rd. 4 for 4 from Madlock.
I don't know if there's a book on Matlock, but they need to do something else with him. That's Mrs. Bill Matlock. Now in the background, the fans are going crazy. They're standing as one. They're waving the pom-poms as you look at this again. And Sister Sledges, the family. You'll be hearing it in Pittsburgh all night, if you can get a Pittsburgh station.
Steve Nicosia, 0 for 3. Runners at 1st and 3rd. The Orioles have the infield in. They can't afford to give up a run and go for the double play, not when you're down by 3.
Here's a case, too, where Chuck Tanner's going to stay with Nicosia. Instead of going to the left hand hitting odd, he might feel that Nicosia and Blyleven, he likes the way they're working together.
1-0 the count.
And when you've got a 3-run lead and a chance to pick up some more, you certainly agree with what Chuck is doing. So much.
What an ebb and flow in this series.
Stargell, the runner at 3rd. Madlock, who now has 9 hits in the series, at 1st. The Pirates have 59 hits in the series, an average of almost 12 a game. The Orioles with 4 hits today. A strike. 1-1.
Now that gives Baltimore 41 on the series.
An 18-hit differential.
And still Pittsburgh battling to stay alive.
They don't quit on themselves, which is the key. The terrible, the saddening distraction of the death of the manager's mother, and coming out here and playing this game. The manager himself pulling out all the stops for his team. As you look at Chuck Tanner, showing you why he led his team to the pennant.
The 1-1 is outside, ball 2.
Well, coming up on 7 o'clock, and obviously you'll not be able to see out of the blue. If the game ends before 7:30, you will get to see it then. It'll be presented from 7:30 to 8. Right. The sly old fox.
As he said before, he's looking for that 1-game winning streak.
But this has to hurt the Birds. They went with their ace, the best pitcher in the American League.
Out of play, off to the right, and the count 2-2.
And Mike Flanagan did a good job. He pitched extremely well. Again, the reminder, 9 o'clock Eastern tonight, the Rams against the Dallas Cowboys. Dorsett and Newhouse and Billy Joe Dupree against the Jack Youngbloods of the world. And then tomorrow night, the Vikings against the Jets.
Stargell at third. Madlock at first. Nobody out. Bottom of the 8th inning. The Pirates trying to stretch the advantage. They lead 4-1. Stanhouse has delivered a worker, as you'll see in either league. Three and two.
Now there's nobody throwing in the Baltimore bullpen, so it's Don Stanhouse against the world right here.
Well, Earl said he almost killed him during the season. He was on the precipice of a coronary at least 12 times with Stanhouse. Now he's in another.
3-2 pitch. The runner Madlock goes as it's fouled away. Well, what is it about Stanhouse? When he's got the bases loaded, he goes 3-2 on the next guy. He's got him right where he wants him.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Weaver is beautiful.
He's got some great expression.
He does.
Every time you look at him, you think there's something going on in there. He's got another trick up his sleeve. What a marvelous facial study. What'll he say, Doc?
I don't know.
The 3-2 pitch. Madlock goes again, and it's popped up in foul ground and playable, and there was some confusion initially, but Dempsey is able to make the catch. Murray came down the line and then retreated back to first, but Dempsey able to make it look relatively easy. One gone.
Now at least they got the double play potential.
Well, you've got a guy here with a bat. It wouldn't surprise me. He had Stargell going with Madlock at the plate, and it wouldn't surprise me right here to see him start the runner at first base with Garner. Garner, a good contact man. He can move it around.
I don't believe what Davis has wrought with Oakland. After a dreadful start, they won a fortunate victory over the Rams. They lost several. They came back. They beat Miami last Monday night, and now they are simply crushing the Atlanta Falcons. As you see the sign for Bill Matlock, having himself a ball today. We may yet make 3 hours on this ball.
In the bullpen for Baltimore, there is Sammy Stewart, who was on in relief early yesterday. Garner hits it foul outside third, 0-1.
Well, Phil and Tim, who had had a difficult series of times in the field in the first 4 games, they got to be feeling a lot better. They showed the nation how they played down the stretch tonight.
Well, they've come back. They've played the caliber of ball tonight that the Pirates are capable of playing. We did not see the real Pittsburgh Pirates, I don't believe, in the first 4 games.
Yeah, but Baltimore had something to do with that. You got to look at it both ways.
The weather had a lot to do with it, too.
Same for both teams.
Right.
Soft liner by Garcia. That will score Stargell. Madlock will stop at second. The Bucks have another and lead it 5-1.
So Garner is 9 for 18 in this series. We keep going back to the way the little guys often become the heroes in the series.
And that ball just over the glove of the leaping Garcia. And that's another big run for the Pirates. They now lead by 4. They're 5-1.
Garner, 9 hits in the series. Madlock has 9 hits. Parker has 9 hits. Stargell has 8. A dozen today for the Pirates, and now 60 in the series. Bert Blyleven.
A most happy fella.
Blyleven bunting in the 7th inning, bunted into a force. Runners at first and second. The Oriole infield expects him to lay one down here with 1 out. Murray shallow at third. And DeCinces, Murray shallow at first. DeCinces moving it now from third as it's bunted foul. That time Stanhouse was coming down to cover the right side. DeCinces moving in from third base, and Eddie was going back to first.
They had to play on. Garcia was moving to third. That's why DeCinces was cheating so much and coming down the line hard. They looked for the ball at that particular time. The ideal situation right here with runners on first and second. Why, if you go by the book and you want to bunt down the third baseline to make the third baseman field it. But now with the different plays that they have on, DeCinces will charge. Garcia will go to the bag at third. If they bunt down the third baseline, then DeCinces can get on it in a hurry. They've still got the force play at third. We'll see how they play it here.
This time the play is not on, and it's bunted down to Murray. And Eddie looked at third and then settles to be out at first as the runners advance. So Bert Blyleven, successful in his sacrifice. The Pirates now have men at second and third. 2 down, and Omar Marino.
You see manager Chuck Tanner and the kitten, the Harvey Haddocks, Pat Blyleven. He has become the Bucks' most compelling pitching figure, and he's doing more than that when he bunts like that, sacrifices.
Boy, that's such a great help. A pitcher that can help himself out when someone puts a piece of wood in his hand. Not only sacrificing if he can make contact.
Marino getting walked here, so they'll pitch to Foley and play the percentages righty against righty.
Based on this series, I'd rather pitch to Marino. I don't understand this.
Omar has struggled.
Probably a relief for Mrs. Marino to see her husband walk with men on.
So they're loaded up for Foley, who drove in a run with a triple in the 7th inning.
This great little contact hitter who hit 288 for the season, who hasn't struck out in now so many times at bat, it's almost uncountable, and has a way of getting key hits, knocking in runs, advancing runners. I've called them the subtle skills of the game, and he's an expert at them.
Now Stanhouse will admit freely that he really doesn't like to throw a lot of strikes. He likes to try and nibble. Well, he's got a guy up there right now that he better throw some strikes or he's going to be down another run.
5-1 Pittsburgh, 2 down, bases loaded. Oh, 1.
That was a beautiful pitch. Lovely curve, breaking down and away.
Way outside. 1 ball and 1 strike on Foley.
I think Timmy really had the key base hit in this ball game. Of course, when they tied it, that was also on a sacrifice fly by Stargell. Madlock had a key base hit to put him ahead. And then Foley with that triple to drive in a run. As you look at the runners, that's Madlock at third. What an afternoon he's having. 4 for 4. Garner at second and Moreno at first.
The other thing Tim did is he drew that walk in the 6th inning to set up the 2 runs in the 6th. Scored the tying run.
That's right.
1-1. 2-1 the count on Foley.
And, you know, talking about that walk, as we said before, that was the first 3-ball count that Flanagan had on anybody. He had been breezing through 5. He'd allowed only 3, make that 4 hits, and that was the only walk, and eventually came on to score.
Foley, chanting to the music. Stanhouse says he likes to pitch with men on base. He should. It's been his life.
That's his job.
Fouled away. Well, if he goes according to form here, he'll throw a ball to make it 3-2. So Weaver can puff on about 6 more.
There's Timmy's pride again.
Two balls and 2 strikes. The walk, incidentally, outside of the intentional walk, just issued Marino. That's the only walk drawn by the Bucks today.
Hear that? As you looked at Mrs. Foley, her eyes lit with joy. Ball players' wives live lives of sometimes quiet desperation, great insecurity. The moments like this one are very few.
The 2-2 pitch. Foley hits a bouncer toward the middle. Garcia has it. Skip away from him. 1 run scores, and here comes Garner. He scores, and it's 7-1.
I would think they'd have to call that a hit, and look at Mrs. Foley. Timmy has now knocked in 4 runs. As we've told you, he started things with a base on ball in the 6th. There is Garcia, the hero of the past couple of days, suddenly having the dejected face of a loser. Now look at that.
That's going to be a tough play for Kiko, although he could have made the play. He had to go far to his left. He had to play it on the short hop, which was a little bit to his advantage. It didn't catch him on an in-between hop. He just couldn't make it.
7-1 Pittsburgh. 2 on, 2 out. Dave Parker, the 8th man to come up in the inning. Struck out twice, singled and doubled.
They called it a hit, Don. I think it's a fair call.
I do. Just for the simple reason of how far he had to go get it.
So Foley with 2 runs batted in and an infield single.
And a total of 4 runs batted in today. The triple earlier, the blow that broke the game open. A change in pattern in what I call the ebb and flow of this series. Today, the Bucks not squandering the opportunities. And that graphic shows you what's next. Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern. And if a 7th game is necessary, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern, both from Baltimore Memorial Stadium. What you must remember overall, though, in perspective is coming into Pittsburgh on the artificial turf. The attitude of the Birds was, if we win 1, we'll win it by winning 2 at home. They have won 2, and you mustn't forget it.
And they still have Palmer in Game 6, and if necessary, McGregor in Game 7.
So you have to say the pitching edge stays with the Birds.
Pickoff play is on, and he gets back in time, and it handcuffed Garcia. Kiko got there, and Moreno was almost picked off, but Garcia got handcuffed by the throw.
That's exactly right. Now Moreno, Garcia's behind him, but Garcia, that throw is a little bit into the runner, and actually Garcia, as you say, Al, you had it perfectly. He was just handcuffed. His main objective at that time was just let me catch the ball.
1-1 pitch coming up to Parker. 2-1. Well, this game quickly paced at the outset. We breezed through 4, and here we go again.
We're apparently going to make 3 hours again.
Yep. About 15 minutes shy of that mark right now. They throw to first on a set play, and it's a wild throw that winds up in the seats. So Garcia is moving back of second base. Stanhouse looking there and then going to first to try to catch the back man napping, and threw it away.
And I believe that got Foley in the batting helmet. Here you see Murray trying to sneak in behind. Foley's okay, but that got him in the helmet. Tanner and Tony Barterone got him in the side of the helmet and ricocheted all the way into the seat. Thank goodness for the helmet.
Marino moving over to third. Foley scratching his head. You can't blame him.
You gotta did more net to get Foley out of there, I'll guarantee you.
Can't you see these guys all fired up now, the Bucks?
The error charge to Stanhouse. Another walk, Parker. Robinson on deck. And we'll see if Tanner might want to counter with Milner. Throw to third. Dempsey trying to get Marino asleep. The intentional walk. The bases are loaded. And Robinson will bat for himself.
And I think right here the reason behind that, they're gonna stay with the leather. They're gonna stay with the leather. As you look at Moreno again, they tried to whip it down there in a hurry, but Omar said, no, come on now.
So the Pirates have hit around in the inning. Robinson, the ninth man to come up. 1 for 3, plus a sacrifice. Crowd chanting P-I-R-A-T-E-S. Wild Bill has a clone in Pittsburgh. 1-0.
Wild Bill Hagee, you'll be seeing him again.
A lot on that man's mind today.
Oh, boy.
A lot of memories, a lot of love.
Popped up, and this will end the inning as the Sensei gets underneath it and makes the catch. But in the inning, 3 more runs for the Pirates on 4 more hits. They have 13 in the game. And the Orioles coming up to face Bert Blyleven in the top of the 9th inning in game number 5. The Pittsburgh Pirates leading the Baltimore Orioles 7-1.
There is the Parrot, and there they are as Chet Forty's cameras pan over the people, standing as one. Sister Sledge in the background. We are family, and the sign corroborates it. A people in unison. This is what I meant when I said in an earlier game what a successful sports franchise can do for a people. It's no different in Baltimore. They brought pride to cities that, like all cities, have been troubled. But now there is elation, and their Bucks are still alive.
Very much so. 7-1 Pittsburgh. Bert Blyleven going to work in the 9th inning on Murray, Renicky, and the Sensei. The Orioles scored first in the 5th inning, but the Pirates with 2 in the 6th, 2 more in the 7th, 3 in the 8th, 7-1 Pittsburgh. Eddie Murray, 0 for 3. In the bullpen, just in case, Kent Jacoby, the right-hander, and Grant Jackson, the left-hander. Give a lot of credit today to Jim Rooker. Rooker working the first 5 as the surprise starter. Gave up just 1 run. And then Blyleven out of the bullpen. He's allowed only 1 hit and no runs through 3. Murray hits a fly ball to left center field. Omar Moreno is waving Robinson away. 1 out.
And he was right to wave Robinson away. In a situation like that, the center fielder captains the outfield, a point Don Drysdale has often made.
Well, that's true, Howard. The center fielder, he's the captain out there. He's going to take anything that he can get, and that is to his right or to his left. And when you've got a guy like Moreno out there that can go get him the way he can, why, it makes it a lot easier job on Parker and Robinson.
Gary Renicky, 1 for 3. Oh, 0-1.
Al, I'd just like to comment, too, on what you said about Jim Rooker. You couldn't ask for a man to give you any more at a better time.
Rooker today retired the first 10 men he faced. Did not allow a hit until the 5th inning. Just what the Pirates needed from their starter. Popped up into shallow left field. In Foley, 2 down.
So we are on the verge of going back to the city by the bay. The other bay, the Chesapeake Bay. And don't forget tonight, a special Sunday night edition of NFL football with the Dallas Cowboys and their great weapons against the Rams and their great defense. And tomorrow night, the Minnesota Vikings. Holy Foley is what the sign says. Tomorrow night, the Vikes being held together by the wizardry of Bud Grant against the Jets. On average, going into today's games, the best running team in the NFL.
Doug DeCinces hits it deep but foul down the left field line and out of play.
He got all of that, just hooked it. That had plenty of home run depth. Oh, look at that.
What a shot. Billy Sullivan, our cameraman up there, taking these shots all day long from our helicopter.
Boy, that's beautiful, isn't it?
0-2, so they're 1 strike away from celebrating in Pittsburgh.
I think, and rightfully so. You know, the fans they've seen 2 losses over here. They've had a great year. They go out with a win. And Earl Weaver sitting there says, well, when do we get you in Baltimore, pal?
I'll tell you this. Yes, you're right about Jim Rooker, but this man, Bert Blyleven, has become the compelling pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His excellent effort in the 2nd game, and now this, his first relief effort since 1972. This is the man they used to say couldn't win the big one.
Well, I think you can erase that right now.
He could not have pitched any better than he did in Game 3 of the playoffs against Cincinnati. And a relief roll today, magnificent. The 1-2 pitch, fouled away.
That is such a phony statement. I've never understood how anyone could make a statement like that. How you cannot win the big one. First of all, Blyleven's never been on a winner until this year.
That's right.
Here's where all the big stuff is in the playoffs in the World Series. Or the other fallacy, stay close and you'll beat him.
The 1-2 to DeCinces is hitting the left field, and Robinson coming on has to short hop it. So the Orioles stay alive barely on a single to left by DeCinces, and John Lowenstein will come up to pinch hit for Dower. John Lowenstein, who delivered the 2-run pinch double yesterday.
The Orioles, number 38, John Lowenstein, will bat for Rich Dower.
Let me tell you something about that man, Blyleven. Again, to show you the nature and character of the people on these 2 teams. For the 2nd year in a row, Bert and his wife, Patty, gave the Pirates a $1,000 check each month of the baseball season to buy tickets.
Lowenstein hits it into right field, and Parker is able to keep it from going to the wall and get it back in.
And Lowenstein has suddenly come hot.
And his
Buy
running mate,
tickets for others to attend a Bucks game. Really a remarkable thing.
he's trying to close him out here as Terry Crowley, who delivered the other 2-run double yesterday, comes up to pinch hit for Dempsey.
The Orioles, number 10, Terry Crowley.
And as Crowley can keep it alive, we'll see yet another pinch hitter with Stanhouse due up next, and Lee May has come out of the dugout.
When's the last time you saw a 7-run rally with 2 out in the 9th inning to overcome a 6-7-1 lead?
Well, it would certainly foul up my dinner plans.
A strike, 0-1.
This will not, no gift could leave in Chuck Tanner's bereavement today, but
Bouncing ball is fouled. Fouled at the plate off his foot.
but as much as one could do for that man has been done by his players today.
He's quite a guy. Probably the toughest thing he's ever had to do in his life today.
Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
Crowley with a new bat to count no balls and 2 strikes. Again, Blyleven within 1 strike of closing out the Orioles in game number 5.
I love him.
Sensational. 0-2 pitch is hit in the air to left field. This should do it. Robinson says, I'll take care of it. And they go back to Baltimore.
The sign reads, there was no doubt about it. And Timmy Foley will remember this day. But that man may be above all. And Bert Blyleven. There's Timmy. And the signs again come into evidence. The fireworks go off. The Bucks are still alive. There have been a lot of great World Series. The one between the Reds and the Red Sox, memorable. Cards and Tigers. But I think they're going to remember this one too.